Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Vice President Kashim Shettima and the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, on Wednesday opened the campaign for the second-term bid of IMO State Governor Hope Uzodinma. Addressing the rally, Mr. Shettima said Nigerians of Southeast extraction could not afford to be excluded from Nigeria's politics. He stressed the need to re-elect Mr. Uzodinma at the 11th November governorship poll to inspire hope of bringing the Southeast to the mainstream of national politics. The Vice President commended Mr. Uzodinma for adding value to Imo State through his giant strides in infrastructural development and the increase in internally generated revenue of the state. Joining us now to discuss the re-election of Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State is Collins Opurozor, Director of Media and Publicity, IMO Progressives Movement. Good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Collins, I like to see the face of the man I'm talking with. If it's not for medical reasons, can you remove your glasses?
Okay.
So I can see, and our viewers can see who we are talking to.
Yes.
Oh, much better. Okay, we've been on this IMO thing. We've had guests here. We've even had members of the opposition on this program saying that Governor Uzodinma does not deserve a second term in office. You are Director of Media and Publicity, IMO Progressives Movement. Apparently, you are a supporter of Governor Uzodinma. Why do you think he should go back to Douglas House? Because the complaints we have received on this table is that he has not managed security well, he's victimizing people, and all of that, you know.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Abati. IMO Progressives Movement is a group led by Honorable Eugene Dibiagu, which is an assemblage of people who believe that IMO must move forward. They are progressive-minded individuals drawn from over 4,700 polling units across the state. And coincidentally, tomorrow, this group will be inaugurated to flag off its campaign, and about 10,000 persons are expected in Owerri. The issue in Imo State is very complex, and I think the opposition in Imo is not being very sincere with the situation. And I have to be very frank with you. In 2019, when we gathered to elect a governor, the IGR profile of Imo State was 453 million. Today, the profile of internally generated revenue is hitting 3 billion. That is a mark of fiscal discipline, prudent management of resources, and viability of the state economy. For instance, in 2019, when we gathered also to elect a governor, we had about 453 public schools having just 87 mathematics teachers and 103 English teachers. Today, Governor Hope Uzodinma has recruited and employed 5,000 teachers in Imo State. In 2019, when we gathered to elect a governor, Imo State was ranking 26th on the Ease of Doing Business Index as released by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Today, Imo State has jumped up by 15 positions to 11th position. That's the verdict today. And when you look at all those things, they are signs of good governance, they are signs of achievement, and they are signs of a government that has delivered on the expectations of the people. So I do not share the views of opposition elements who say that Uzodinma has not done well. Then in terms of infrastructure, I have to tell you that between 1999 and 2019, the issue in Imo was either about no road, bad road, or China road. Today, nobody is talking about road infrastructure. When Uzodinma began one of the longest stretches in Imo State, which is the Owerri-Okigwe Road, they said, oh, it's not possible. Today, 59-kilometer road of Owerri-Okigwe Road has been constructed to world class with drainage system. The Owerri-Oludo Road has been constructed, which is about 37 kilometers. The Owerri-Mbise-Umahia Road, which is about 46 kilometers, already completed, and other internal roads across the state. For instance, again, in terms of youth unemployment, it was one of the biggest issues we contended with in 2019, because the 3 years that preceded the coming of Governor Hope Uzodinma witnessed Imo having an unemployment rate that rose by 100%. It was 28% in 2018, and by 2020 that Uzodinma took over, Imo was already classified as the unemployment capital of Nigeria, with about 53% of youths completely out of job. What is the situation today? The curve is downward, facing downward. So the man is doing well. First, what did he do? He revamped Adapam which is one of the biggest palm plantations in Nigeria, and immediately employed about 1,200 people there, and also expanded the downstream sector, because apart from the primary oil production, the other palm today is going into the manufacture of butter, margarine, soaps, and glycerin. That is what the government is doing. Then again, you look at the ceramics industry in Okigwe that is establishing to engage the people. So I don't think that the government has failed or the governor has not done well. So he deserves re-election.
All right. So Imo State is still top when it comes to unemployment rate in Nigeria, according to 2022 statistics. So despite what you've said, it doesn't seem to have had perhaps the desired effect in 4 years of Governor Uzodinma's administration. One of the things I'd ask is that what are some of the initiatives that have worked in the past, and then maybe you talk about this exporting IMO citizens abroad to also help with unemployment, the unemployment issues. I'm sure you watched the event where he had said, is that part of his plans to help IMO-lites? So that's one. Then the other thing I'd like you to speak on is security. Because that's another issue that has be labeled or just this put a mark on his particular administration. The security levels. Last month, he said he was going to reveal the political actors behind, the insecurity issues in Imo State. It's 1 month afterwards, nothing's been done. And beyond just pointing fingers as to these people are in charge, what is the governor doing? If he couldn't solve insecurity problems in 4 years, what's the guarantee that he would do so in the next 4 years?
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. When you talk about what the government has done in terms of job creation, you were talking about, first and foremost, creating the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. And the businesses today are thriving. Let me be very clear to you. The mainstay of Imo economy is tourism. And what the government has actually done to unleash the potentials of Imo people and create direct and indirect employment is first and foremost through integrated infrastructural development. In the past, what you used to witness was a situation where roads that led absolutely nowhere will be constructed for political reasons. Today, Imo has been made truly the Eastern Heartland through road construction, and economic activities have been revved up. That is number one. Number two, the Skill Up Imo initiative. Skill Up Imo project, I will give you an instance. Yesterday, before I started coming to Lagos, I was in the office. I called somebody. I said I wanted to give him a digital marketing contract. He walked into the office. I greeted the administrative secretary there. I said, do you know this lady? He said, yeah, we were classmates last year in the Skill Up Imo project. What qualified that lady to be administrative secretary? Scale Up Imo project. What qualified the young man for the digital marketing contract? Scale Up Imo project. 20,000 Imo people have been picked off the streets, trained in digital marketing, app development, cyber security, and engaged, given laptops, and they are working.
So why is it that in 2022, on the misery index by NBS, that's misery, people who are miserable states, Imo was bottom, it's 74%. If people are getting these jobs, why are they miserable in Imo State?
The fact is that the situation in Imo has evolved over time. What you have to look at first and foremost is the stabilization. If in the 3 years that preceded the coming of Uzodinma, unemployment rate grew by 100%, and under Uzodinma, it has not grown. That is first and foremost stabilization, and it's moving downward. That shows that policy is working. If you get to policy process analysis, the evaluation part is that so it is working. That was why by last year, the Scale Up Imo project engaged 5,000. When they saw that it was actually addressing the problem which it was supposed to address, they had to increase by 15,000 this year, targeting 300,000 in the next 4 years. So I think it's working. Then again, talking about security, the security problem in Imo is actually multifaceted. First, you have the agitations, which is a problem in the whole of the Southeast. Some persons, criminal elements, have now infiltrated the agitations, using it for criminal enterprise, abductions, and all of that. And political actors have also infiltrated the process for the purposes of regime change. I will give you an instance that may shock you. You will shudder, because I think you might not have heard about this before. On the 18th of June this year, 7 members of the State Working Committee of Imo State PDP resigned and gave the reasons for their resignation. They said that first and foremost, the internal democratic space in the party had been stifled, and violence has been elevated to the position of party policy. And they gave instance. They said that on the 10th of June, a group in the party that got the ticket of the party for governorship, known as Divine Mandate, held a program at the party secretariat, and thugs were sent there by the same group. When they started fighting, they couldn't share money probably and all of that. They vandalized the secretariat of the party, beat the security men to a pulp, even broke their hands and they were hospitalized, shattered everything there, looted the secretariat. And guess what happened? On Tuesday, 13th of June, they convened an emergency state working committee meeting to look into the issue. And their resolution was that they will report the matter to the police. A phone call came in from the so-called leader of the party that they should not report the matter to police. That as a matter of fact, they should blame Uzodinma for sending a Bubago to attack them. You see how insecurity in Imo is being politicized. A party will have an internal problem, attack one another, and blame the government. So how do you talk about that? But what the government also has done is that it has never relented. Senator Uzodinma has equipped security agencies in Imo with smart security devices, with operational vehicles, and with constant engagement and motivation to ensure that then I will give you an instance, please. Just 1 minute, I'll give you an instance. A few months ago, a friend of mine called and said, Collins, accompany me to the place that somebody related to me arrested by the police. I said, okay. I accompanied him. Guess what happened? His uncle was arrested in Akwa Ibom, brought to Imo State. What happened? The uncle made a call soliciting for funds to release somebody he never knew to be a notorious criminal. And instantly he was picked up in Akwa Ibom. That is how proactive the security agencies in Imo have been made by Senator Uzodinma.
Okay, Collins, real quickly, I'd like to say, you said all those good things, but the reality on ground is different from all of these flowery things. I'll tell you how. As we speak today, Imo is highly indebted. The debt is about 220 billion. National Bureau of Statistics. You have racked up, the government has increased the number of debts. You are happy about 3 billion internally generated revenue. Compare that with your debts. Your revenue to debt ratio, do you want to calculate how much that is? That's number one. As we are saying all of this, Collins, you still have a big problem of massive unemployment. You yourself, you heard what you said. You said the curve is down. You couldn't precisely say the net difference between unemployment number because you know the problem has not been solved. You can only say the curve is down because you know it's not down. You said Imo State jump up 15 places up the ladder of ease of doing business. Do you know this year? Tell me how much Imo has received in foreign investment. Nothing. It's part of the state that were highlighted not to have received anything. So what's going on?
All right, you've actually mentioned a number of issues, and number one among them is the issue of unemployment. Let me tell you the truth. Unemployment problem cannot be solved overnight. It is incremental in solving it. And I think the government has also done well. When you pull 20,000 people off the street, when you pull 5,000 people off the street, when you pull 1,200 people off the street, directly, and also the multiplier effect, you are going to be talking about a state that is doing well in creating jobs and then solving the problem. That is it. Then you are talking about the insecurity in the state. You also know about the agitations. You know that this is insecurity. As a matter of fact, the most decent conversation we can have about insecurity.
Imo used to be one of the most peaceful states until this governor came.
Dr. Rufai, let me tell you something. When you want to have a decent conversation about insecurity, you are going to be going into the issues of federalism and the need to empower the subnationals to take charge of issues that are actually local, especially security. Under the current arrangement, the powers of the governors are limited in issues of security. Let me tell you the truth. What you are having in Imo is not different from what you are having in Abia, in Anambra. Somebody was abducted from my village and his head found in Umunze in Anambra. So that is the problem we're having. Why would you have insecurity in the north and we clamor for federal government to do more, and you have in Imo and you call for the governor's removal? Are you being fair to him? We are talking about the legislative list here, where the security of the country is in the exclusive list. So can we agitate more for a better federation? Because federalism actually connotes coordinate and independent relationships. So let there be more independence in the local areas.
But there was also federalism in Imo when Imo was known for the peace, the lovely hotels, the great, people used to go and do weekend in Imo from Port Harcourt. But why is it that once this governor came in, everything went south? Talk about the debt I also talked about.
Okay.
Talk about the, what is it called? I also talk about ease of doing. IMO has not gotten any foreign investment.
Thank you very much. I will also try to correct an impression. The problem is not peculiar to IMO, okay? If it's happening in IMO and it's not happening in Enugu, you know the other day that the UK embassy said they're going to be having a mission in Enugu, and the threats they started getting after that. So it happens everywhere in the southeast, even across the country. Then again, you're talking about the increase in the debt profile.
Yes.
Let me tell you, the government of Senator Uzodinma inherited a debt profile that was almost 180 billion. And let me tell you, why the debt profile will always be increasing is because also there are deductions that are made to services, and when those deductions are below the rate of the increase, it will always be increasing. That is it. But I can assure you that Uzodinma has, have you noticed one thing? That between 2020 and 2021, it actually dropped from 205 to 204. Imo State government is...
But it's 220 billion.
Because no, because of the services. Remember that these debts are maintained. They increase over time. You can't leave it fallow. It doesn't lie fallow. When you borrow money, you're expected to be paying on the money you have borrowed. That is why it grows, not because Uzodinma has borrowed any money. Okay. So that is the situation.
Okay, Collins, well, we've listened to you. But with all these things that you have said, the opposition is of a different opinion. That Imo State is not functioning. The National Bureau of Statistics identified 28 states that have not attracted any foreign direct investment, not even $1,000.
I was to talk about
that.
So
Imo State. Imo State is one of those states. So if Governor Uzodinma was doing something wonderful, nobody considers Imo State a destination for investment. Okay, either foreign or local.
Dr. Abati,
so
Dr. Abati, the reality is that before the coming of Senator Opurozor as governor of Imo State, the Nigeria Capital Importation Report rated Imo as one of those states that never attracted any FDI. Today, as I am talking to you, Imo State has one of the biggest multinationals.
Current MBS report.
Put me the report.
Are you saying the people in MBS?
No, Dr. Abati. Dr. Abati, the reality is that the report does not reflect the reality. What about the Watersmith Modular Refinery established recently in Imo State, which has the biggest capacity of a commissioned modular refinery in Nigeria? So you see, the report is not reflecting the reality on ground. So what you're talking about is that Imo, that Uzodinma inherited, had a lot of problems, and he is addressing those problems one by one. In terms of FDI, Watersmith has come. By the time the verdict of 2023 is released, I can tell you that Imo State will surpass all other Southeast states put together in terms of FDI, because the reality is on ground.
Okay. All right. Avadu, I'm sure there are other perspectives to the story.
Dr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm grateful.